with our first story now. And June 12, every year is observed as Child Labor Day throughout the world by the International Labour Organization. The campaign this year is also linked to the upcoming World Cup tournament in Brazil to encourage everyone to show a red card to all those who exploit children. Ridwan Osman Dini Karim spoke with some child street hawkers.
Free Korangon Bar. Other bedma, Scana Minintan bedma. Mamma, they are no woman and an net. My pants with him. Hear me, answer. Me toss me. Bakwa, Bakonzo, you crum. And I'm consumer die. Me do from one. I didn't know Jai. The other men now, Mina. Oh. The body and fan 1 year. Minya Scadiameco. Oh, school fees in there. As you could school, that book about the Tamaminia. Be a 270. Oh, Madam Petan come here. Penny pa. Be a bangiano. I mean, a school in the Yankameco.
Which I just said, what Tom Pio or Tache. Where did you feel by saying? Which I just saw Tom Pio, they didn't feel by saying. I draw school. What class saying?
Class 2.
Now then, and the one school.
No, I'm here to go into a missing and the uncle. Massima, I'm here to go into a missing and the uncle school. But
over premium or mountains won't cry. On crab saying
4.
More way.
Omoko school. Rebecca Koya deal of you. Rebecca Koya Duane.
Over the years, several laws have been passed with a number of treaties having been signed to guard against exploitative child labor in Ghana. Yet the practice is still prevalent in many parts of Accra. For instance, a drive on any busy street in Accra, one is bound to be accosted with swarms of children of school age engaged in all sorts of menial activities just to make ends meet. But I believe it is about time some parents were shown that the responsibility of being a mother or a father goes beyond just getting pregnant and having children. State institutions should also reassess their efforts so that the hope of these kids found on our streets will be renewed. Ridwan Karim Dini Osman, Joy News, Accra.
And well, Speaker of Parliament Edward Doa Jaho on Wednesday described as legitimate criticisms against the president for failing to inform Parliament about his new ministerial appointees and choosing to make it public in the media. A member of Parliament for Bekwai and ranking member of the Legal and Constitutional Affairs Committee of Parliament, Joe Seusi, who was on the AM show, shared similar concerns.
Should you change the person, remove him from your cabinet, should you not notify us? Then you have a situation where the announcement has been made, but the person is still working because a date to hand over has been set by the president. We had one example yesterday when Deputy Minister for Finance, Ricketts Hagen, has been moved to Trade. But he was leading the discussion before the Joint Committees of Finance and Roads and Transport on the Atwabu Freeport project. So yesterday when he came, we raised issues there. Where is your locus? You have the, because we know you're being reassigned. That was when he informed us that the effective date for his reassignment is 1st July.
And that has not been communicated to you as
to Parliament. So those are the issues. That's what the Speaker meant when he says that I admit questions intended for ministers. When there's confusion as to which person is in charge of which ministry, it makes the work of Parliament difficult, and our oversight is sometimes hampered.
I know every time before the names are announced, Parliament is always informed. That has been a practice, right? This is a small aberration that I feel that we shouldn't fight over it.
Well, let's get more on this together with other matters. David Agbe is Executive Director of the Ghana Institute of Governance and Security. He's joined me via telephone. Thank you very much, David, for your time.
Thank you so much, Kamani.
David, you're thinking into this. The president, Parliament seems disappointed in the president for failing to notify the House over new ministerial appointments.
Yeah, thank you once again for the opportunity. I share the sentiment, expressed by the parliamentarians. However, I want to state that the president actually has, based on the 1992 constitution, he has not breached any, protocol. But however, it is more important to say that Parliament needs to be informed with regards to all the changes which has been done by the president. If you look at the architecture of our governance process, you realize that from the executive, we come down to the legislature. So it is important that the president has to inform them. But in this case, Parliament was also on recess. So it is also a challenge there as to how best they could be communicated. But I think that the office of the president should have actually copied the Speaker of Parliament for him to also acknowledge the fact that, yes, these are the changes. Because if you are changing minister from one point to another, it is also a security matter that the office of the president should have copied the parliamentarian, copied the judicial, and copied the security council and all those bodies, so that they will also get to know that these are the changes which has been actually done. Because all the ministers, they sign various kinds of documents and all kinds of information. So it is much crucial that the parliamentarian needs to be copied, because if you study how information needs to be flowed from government to its agencies, you realize clearly that in authoritarian system of governance, information flow from office of the president straight to the masses. And then when you come to democracy, information must flow from two ways of directions, which means that information must flow from the office of the president to the legislature and to other important bodies. So I think that the office of the president should have done better. And knowing the president very well, he has been a parliamentarian for 12 good years. So I think that these basic mistakes shouldn't have been committed by the office of the president. But however, he has not breached any protocol, or he has not breached the constitution of Ghana, which is the 1992 constitution.
I see. Now let's move on to another matter that's got to do with Parliament, the fact that the House is divided over the constitutional amendment, whether or not the president should choose ministers from outside Parliament. What's your thinking into that?
It is a very, tricky issue, very debatable. But in our office, we sincerely believe that the democracy is not about, rushing to make sure that certain things are done in a smart way. I mean, if you study American democratic systems over 200 years ago, they are not rushing at all. They are taking everything step by step. We are in our own thinking. We believe that we shouldn't rush in terms of, bringing some changes into the constitution. But the matter is, very, very critical. That when you look at the way parliamentarians and then people are actually appointed, you clearly realize that most people in Ghana, especially people from the academia, people who have achieved a certain status quo, they don't want to actually contest for a parliamentary seat. But you realize that other people who are real politicians also want to say that no, we also need to contest for a certain seat in Parliament. So it becomes very, very critical that when you change, the way things are going now, it could let other people stay aback, because they know that they are the academicians, and so they wouldn't express interest of contesting for a certain seat. But they are thinking that they will be able to catch the attention of the president for the president to appoint them to become ministers. So I think that we need to be a bit cautious, that we need to also tell people from the academia, people who have, a certain, vision of also becoming, a key, figures in terms of running this country, to also go and contest for an election, but not to say that they want to sit at back and then because of their qualification, because of their, experience, they will sit at back for the president to be able to appoint them. Because it is a very complex issue in a sense that when people, contest for an election, they contribute in terms of crafting policy manifesto. And so when you sit at back and for those people to express their interest to contest for, a parliamentary seat, they are also looking for another leg, which is the fact that the president could also appoint them to become, ministers. So it's a very complex issue that we need to trade with it with a very cautious attention, that we shouldn't rush in terms of changing certain things in our, constitution as we speak.
Pleasure talking to you, David. David Agbe is Executive Director for the Ghana Institute of Governance and Security. Now, former NPP Member of Parliament, Stephen Asamoah Boateng, says he is confident he will be given the mandate to lead the party in the 2016 election. Asamoah Boateng picked his nomination form Thursday morning at the party's headquarters in Accra.
Though his Infansoman West constituents did not retain him as MP in 2012, Stephen Asamoah Boateng is hopeful party members will recognize his presidential leadership qualities.
Anyone who has never lost an election has never fought one before. If you have never fought it before, you can sit in your bedroom and your back door and talk. That one is good. But if you've done it before, losing and winning is part of the democratic dispensation that we have been backed on. People have said to me, is this your place? Can you do this job? And I refer them to David, the story of David. He wasn't a warrior. He wasn't asked to go and fight in the fields when the Philistines were teasing the Israelites. He went out there and knew he can do the job. Most people would think I don't belong here, but God in his own wisdom knows what he's about and doing. And all that David said, if you remember, he says, what have I said wrong? Can't I even speak? So let Asabi speak. And I may be the David that can down the Goliath for us.
The former information minister paid 10,000 cedis to pick the form and is required to pay another 75,000 cedis on submission. The huge financial obligation, however, will not be a hindrance to his ambitions.
When you want to be in this position and wants to move on, the money doesn't come from your pocket solely. Yes, you commit something to it. Shows your commitment, shows your resilience, it shows your vision and your focus. You want this, and you just don't want it for yourself. You want it for the people you want to serve. And so I have people who want to serve with me, and I will be able to mobilize. If you cannot mobilize 75,000, you cannot be president of the Republic of Ghana.
His supporters say they will back him because they believe he can unify the party, considering recent rivalry between two-time presidential hopeful Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Alan Tremantin.
He's not alone. Two-time presidential candidate of the opposition New Patriotic Party, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is also at the party's office to pick his nomination forms to contest the 2016 polls. Nana Akufo-Addo lost in 2008 to President John Evans Atta Mills and in 2012 to John Dramani Mahama after the Supreme Court ruled he was validly elected in the December 7 and 8 polls. Well, Member of Parliament for Bekwai, Joseph Osei Usu, is of the view unless metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies enforce their bylaws, many parts of the country will continue to experience serious flooding. Speaking on the AM show, Osei Usu noted the public must understand the geography of areas they want to build and before acquiring such lands for construction.
I think that first, people must understand the geography of the area they want to build. If you're going to put a house in a valley, you must know clearly that rainwater will come down there. So you must either design your house such that the water that will come into the valley, you can avoid it. Or that probably you have boats by which you can row in and out of your house. Again, I think that we should also look at the institutions of the various municipal and metropolitan assemblies. Did these people obtain permit to build at the places they are? Did the officials go to look at the place? Are the places designated for residential purposes? If they are not, did the respective assemblies take any steps to prevent them, or even if they saw it later, to remove the structures as they are mandated to do by law? These are some of the things we must continue to question. I mean, even if I didn't see you when you're starting, when you finish, I will take every legal step to remove you before you become a burden on me. Because whether you like it or not, now that they are in distress, you cannot sit by and say let them drown. You have to put our scarce resources back into rescuing, sometimes rehabilitating or finding another place for them, even if temporary, to reside. These are all cost, and the person's own investment that is going waste is a waste of our national resource. So I think that we should be more proactive.
Oh, we'll stay on the NDC. Now, this ruling party chair, Ade Coker, who was also on the AM show, called for concerted efforts to ensure future disasters are averted.
I don't know how we are going to relocate them, where we are going, and the chiefs, those who sold the land, they also know that this is go to the irrigation area. There's this irrigation.
Yes,
people have taken different cruise on it. So at the end of the day, then they'll come and blame government for wager. You know what? When we were growing up, that place used to be a virgin land and supposed to be a reservation, because from Accra to Kaswa, those places were supposed, because of the dam, right, and the river just by the dam, the Dinsu River. Over the years, like my brother said, and you could see McCarthy Hill down there, and that was a valley. So that when there's a spillover, the water will go there and then sink rather. Now, what has happened, because they built the place, become a concrete slab. So even the water has nowhere to go when it's spilled. And institutions and the chiefs there, everybody have looked on. And today, look at the result. Sometimes we have to call a spade, right? Those who went to build the houses there, they must have known, because even sometimes some part of the area has a waterbed. The water even sits from the ground. Yes. So when they are built, they use this something called waterproof cement. So if you are using waterproof cement, you know that then where you are building, it's a waterlogged area, a Ramsey area. So why do you go and build there? And this will not stop.
This is News Today, and here are top stories. Two-time presidential candidate of the NPP, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, picks forms to contest New Patriotic Party presidential slot for 2016 polls. Now, he did that together with Stephen Asamoah Boateng, who also picked forms for the same slot. Ahead in sport. Thank you very much for staying on News Today. My name is Kemini Nyamani Emmanuel. Let's talk business. The Midday authorities denied reports that the dam has been shut down. And speaking with me on News Desk, External and Communication Relations Manager of the Midday Authority, Wombela Salifu, said the dam is currently generating 50 megavolt of power. And here is the playback.
generation station has not been shut down. What, if you recall, in our press release, what we said was that the water level had dropped to around the minimum operating level, and so we're going to reduce the amount of power we're producing from the station. So as I speak to you now, the engineers are monitoring the inflows that we are getting into the reservoir. But let me also explain that the generating station has a capacity to produce both active power and then reactive power. And active power is produced when water turns the turbines and we produce power.
Absolutely.
The reactive power is produced when the turbines are turned around on air. And the purpose of the reactive power is to boost the voltages in the northern part of the country. Yes, so it's not a case that we've shut down. We've not shut down.
Yes. Are you given? I understand that you may be given NEDCO something, but are you giving the VRA anything for those of us who are not on the NEDCO grid?
The generating station is interconnected into the national grid, and so whatever happens here, the engineers here do that in conjunction with GridCo, and so it can't be entirely the case that it's just the northern part. I think the reactive power benefits the entire nation.
I see. So collectively, with the reactive power, how many megawatts are we generating?
As I speak to you now, we're adding about 50 megawatts, not megawatts.
Well, our government has settled on 19 major infrastructure projects, and it hopes to execute by joining hands with private businesses. 6 of these projects have been earmarked for this year, while the remainder will be executed next year. This forms part of government's plan to embark on an aggressive infrastructure development through public-private partnership initiative.
Head of Public Sector Investment at the Ministry of Finance, Magdalena Pentin, said the project ranges from road, health, transport and sports.
We're using the PPP platform to ensure the private sector can come and assist by providing the necessary financing. An example of this project is the Wankrai Inland Port and the Eastern Railway Line project, which we now have a transaction advisor who is going to assist us in preparing the project. We are hopeful that very soon details of this project will come. There will be a roadshow to entice the private sector to show their interest, and then we move ahead and get a private sector sponsor to actually start the project. We have several projects in the pipeline. 6 of them are about being prepared.
Sorry about the poor audio, but let's turn attention to the Chinese economy, and the country has announced new measures aimed at bolstering its economic growth. Now, these include plans to build railways, roads and airports along the Yangtze River, which connects China's less developed inland provinces to Shanghai. Meanwhile, China's central bank said it will encourage banks to lend more to exporters to boost shipments. The moves, the latest in a series of steps taken in recent weeks, come amid concerns over a slowdown in China's economy, the world's second largest of that. Now, China's economy expanded by 7.4% in January to March from a year ago, down from 7.7% in the final quarter of last year. Want to know more about the opening match today? Stay on for Sports with Benedict Usu.
Good afternoon to you wherever you are. Today happens to be the day that you've all been waiting for, the day that the 2014 World Cup in Brazil is kicking off. And we have Brazil coming up against Croatia in the very first game. But even before that, there will be a grand opening ceremony in Brazil. You know how the Brazilians, they do their thing. So we all wait to see what will happen later this afternoon. But even before we talk more about the World Cup, let's focus on our own Black Stars. And former Black Stars player Augustine Ahemfo has refuted reports in a section of the media that some current players disrespect Black Stars coach Kwesi Appiah. He spoke on the AM show.
We do respect him. Those of us who are making those arguments are the fact that they think Kwesi Appiah is black, and so the players will not accord him the necessary respect, which is wrong. You know, that's why I said earlier on that man, you really don't know what he's thinking. You don't know what Kwesi Appiah is thinking, and so you are always not sure what you are supposed to do. They respect him. I've been with the team. Whenever they played in Kumasi, I am there. We are at the same hotel, and I see how they interact with him. And he's also very friendly with them. And so I don't see why they should disrespect him. But they have mechanisms put in place, measures there. If you falter, you are going to pay a fine. Or maybe you are out of the team at the sidelines. So I don't believe that they are not respecting. They do respect him.
Okay, so that was ex-Black Stars player Augustine Ahemfo talking about respect that, you know, is widely speculated that the foreign-based players don't really respect Coach Kwesi Appiah. But according to Augustine Ahemfo, who is really close with the team, says there is nothing like that. We still stay with the Black Stars, and this time Sports Minister Elvis Ifriankra says the team is well motivated to excel at the FIFA World Cup, which opens later today. He says President John Dramani Mahama personally assured the stars of the nation his full support as they represent Ghana on the global stage. In an interview with international correspondent Jefferson Saki, Mr. Ifriankra says each member of the team has shown total commitment even before the start of the tournament.
First of all, let me break it down. In terms of the players themselves, I think they've made sacrifices. This year, whatever bonuses they're taking.
Sacrifices for the nation, right?
Yeah, sure, as we're all doing. It's the same as they're taking whatever they took in 2010. Okay? They didn't have an increase. So that's a sacrifice, because after 4 years down the line, I mean, you expect that inflation and all that, but they agreed that they recognize the current challenges facing.
Was this decision taken because of the pressure that came as a result of that token that was given to the stars?
Pressure, response,
public response and all
public
that?
Pressure, public response, their own conscience, their own assessment of the situation. All these things come. President decided that, look, we should all, some of the privileges, we should take some of our salary, we should cut down our salary, we should be paying things that we're not paying for, you know.
And tell me about the president's own commitment in seeing the Black Stars through this year's World Cup. You've been having words with him, direct contact with him. Hardly do we see him in public, you know, devoting or supporting the Black Stars and all that. I think the last time we saw him openly declaring support was the Under-20 World Cup, right, where Ghana won for the first time. But with this particular team, tell me about the president's commitment to that.
His commitment is absolute. Look, people ask me, where do I get the inspiration from? I get the inspiration from him. He's the #1 supporter of the Black Stars. He's personally committed. You know, when all these issues about budgets came in, he had to set up a cabinet subcommittee to look at the budget and look at the way it was resolved, and all the controversies died down. And he's been very consistent. Recently, he hosted the team to a farewell dinner. That was a massive, a big platform. It's never happened before. Before every match, he'll call me and I'll tell him I'm going for this match. He said, okay, ensure that you win the match. Now, when he tells me that, I don't know the implication. So if I don't win the match, what happens? It means don't come back or you're fired. So it's with that, you know, the president has called me, or I call him and he tells me, okay, safe trip, I wish the team well, ensure that you win. That's my mandate.
What for you would be the worst performance of the Black Stars in Brazil?
I keep telling the team, we'll take it one team at a time. Stage 1 of the strategy is to qualify, okay, from what is obviously a challenging group. It's not an impossible group. It's a challenging group.
It's a challenging group.
Yes, but it doesn't mean it's
for me, it sounds like an impossible group. You have Germany in there. You have Portugal.
Germany, do they play with 4 legs? Are they not human like us?
They're human like us. They play matches, they lose matches, their players lose matches.
They relatively have a youthful team if you look at the squad, right?
Good. We also have young people and we have experienced people. And we play the tika-tika. Our style of play, you can't read it. If you put it in the computer, you don't get any results. That's the tika-tika style. You cannot read our style of play because every single player is very skillful.
All right, so the Sports Minister, Honorable Ifriankra, has got every reason to be optimistic. They're talking about the chances of the Black Stars and other related World Cup issues when it comes to the Black Stars team who are currently in Brazil. But make sure to join Jefferson Saki's report this Saturday on this same channel, exactly 7:30, for the full interview. So just by way of updates with the Black Stars team, they will train this afternoon. And Maceo, you know the team arrived last night. Okay, we'll continue to talk about Brazil. And Brazil will play Croatia this afternoon to get the World Cup underway, beginning its quest for a 6th World Cup title almost 7 years after the nation picked up as host. If Brazil wins the opening game, the tournament, the fact that the stadium in Sao Paulo isn't even fully finished yet will quickly be forgotten.
Just before we get into international news, NDC is holding its National Executive Committee meeting to deliberate on issues of biometric registration and constitutional amendment. Gifty Ando appears therefore as, and she's joined me via telephone. Hello, Gifty.
Hello, Terminal.
And so what have they been saying about these?
Well, let me just say that the meeting is happening at the Institute of Local Government Studies at Medina. Party executive well represented. I've seen a number of bigwigs of the NDC. Alban Bagwin has been around, E.T. Sam, Abenuado, the party's general secretary and its chairman are all well represented. As to what they are really saying, we were just invited in because they were earlier having a closed session with President John Mahama, who is here. What we are told right now by the party's general secretary, Councillor Stephen Ketia, is that they are going to launch the party's biometric card. That is what the president is here for. That's what he's going to launch. And he gave some statistics as far as what they have done with the biometric registration so far have been. He earlier mentioned the 4 promises the party made itself and to its members about 4 years ago at their conference, about getting a new headquarters for the party, the biometric registration, and the party school, and then development of an organizational manual that will help the party in their general administration. But what he said is that so far they've been able to print about 44,000 of the biometric cards, and 1,800 have already been distributed. So far, that's the information that we have. The president hasn't spoken yet, so we're just waiting to hear what he has to say.
I see, and when we do, we'll get an update on that. Thank you very much, Gifty, for the information. Gifty Ando Apia joined us as the NDC holds its National Executive Committee meeting. There'll be more on this in subsequent broadcasts. Well, Sunday, June 15, also happens to be Father's Day. We're starting the celebration here. We'll try and do it just as we did for our mothers. Ghana National Parents Network has started an event in that line. And with me in the studio, we'll talk about why the need to nurture our children from now so we can have responsible fathers in the future. Reverend C.J. Bachman is with the network and he's joined me here. Thank you very much, Rev.
Thank you. Good to see you.
And so we're doing this. What for?
Well, lately there's a great need to raise the next generation. I know the economic hardships and times are really tough, but doesn't take away the fact that we must nurture these children right. Fabulous Fathers, today's awards program, we gave an award this morning and, to one deserving father to encourage responsible fatherhood. Because we believe strongly that strong men make strong fathers make strong families make strong churches, and strong churches make great cities and nations.
But this is what the Ghana National Parents Network has been able to do. But Absolutely. For individual parents who may be at home, what can they do with your children?
Well, it's very simple things. I know it's, again, I'm talking about the time and the season that we're living in. For example, quality time. This is something we'll be doing in October. We launched a project called Quality Time, where men, fathers or men will bring their nephews, nieces, this time it's not a family fun day. It's a moment where we can get together and listen to the children, spend quality time with the children. That's all. I know we're busy. I know we're chasing so many things. Listen to this. If you spend a time encouraging a child even to read a book a week, that child at the end of the year would have read 52 books. And that's all you did was give them time to listen to them read, or you read to them.
Right.
And these are little things.
So what ways is the Ghana National Parents Network using in this regard to nurture these children?
Well, what we're doing is one child at a time. I'm so grateful to be part of this great initiative where we're coming alongside the educational system to also raise the social aspirations and educational aspirations of the children by support. This is not a PTA. This is something outside PTA where there's going to be a synergy between us as parents and the educational system and the teachers. So it's a network between parents and teachers where we come alongside the education system to help improve. Some of the skills that the kids need may be lifestyle skills or life skills, which you don't need an academic any academic prowess to teach values on how it's important to stay in education. Kids need motivation too. So we motivate them about education. Like simple things that we're doing is like learn one English word a day. So at the end of the year, they've got 365 words. The vocabulary is improved.
Absolutely.
The confidence level is changed. Absolutely. It doesn't take a lot of...
In a few seconds, tell us what fathers should reflect on perhaps as we enter Father's Day on Sunday.
Value. Added value, where we add value to our children, no matter what age, start instilling in them certain values, respect, honor, dignity, discipline, those sorts of things, and let them enjoy being with you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, too.
Reverend CJ Bachman is with the Ghana National Parents Network. Now let's get into something.
The
Well, the second season of Adum TV's comedy talent show, Sir Kwakwa, has ended with Ajara emerging the ultimate winner.
Sir Kwakwa opened with a performance from award-winning hip live artist Joey B.
Nice shake me up. If you do nice flip up. Freeze, baby, she's. Shabody, if you bump by the way, I frost them.
The contestants then began their fierce battle for the ultimate Sir Kwakwa crown.
Rote, rote, hasna seekho. Haste haste rona, rote rote, hasna seekho.
A person who cry latest one to go. Oh, who not done for one item. Hey, Monica. Hey, Monica. Hey, Mama, what Jimmy? Hey, Monica. Hey, so say don't wire first. Why before no dey chire? Yesu. Yo youth, madam was say, my shadow said me ba be tumofo. Won say bishop say my emerenti me ko retire. Enche na mawu. Ti man from afutu anyamo a ebeye de ne kakra. Kakra me ka chem say obi kan wa mesrɛ bompaye na wanu si wo bompaye boma na waso ne nsa na waka no.
Now the moment everybody has been waiting for.
The new champion for Sir Kwakwa season 2, organized by Multimedia.
Adum TV, Nidini, the champion.
Both the organizers and patrons agree that this season has been the most exciting one and they are patiently waiting for the next season.
Well, that'll be all for now. Here are top stories here on News Today. Two-time presidential candidate of the NPP, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, picks forms to contest New Patriotic Party presidential slot for 2016 polls.